All right, welcome back, terrestrials. In this episode, two old white cis guys are going to review I Saw the TV Glow. Um, Me and Jerry, we meet in the middle on slashers and monster movies and things like that, but we actually have interestingly separate tastes in horror, as where Jerry likes to go for like a Full Moon Pictures or a I guess what is it? A
Strictly
l-
B.
yeah, strictly B budget, lower budget movie. I kind of go to this more oddly titled uh artistic movie style. So where he's watching, like Chum or Suburban Sasquatch or some like Puppet Masters, I'm watching I Saw the TV Glow, Starfish, We All Go to the World's Fair, things like that.
Right.
Um, so that's what led us to this. I saw it and I was like, you know what? I saw a pretty good movie. Let's
Yeah.
check this out. Took some convincing from him, and then here we are. So, Jerry, what do you give this
Yes.
movie? Also, I'm having
Uh,
some.
you're having technical difficulties. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I can still work. I'm just going to keep.
Word. I'm gonna give it a C plus, C
A B,
plus,
C
B
plus.
minus. Yeah, somewhere in
Okay.
there. Yeah,
Yeah, C plus, C minus.
C plus, B minus.
Okay, yeah, I think a B minus is fair for me. I'm gonna go B. So, all right,
Okay.
here's the thing. As far I got two grades for it because as your stereotypical horror movie, it's pretty bad. Like as
Mm,
far as no,
mm.
stereotypically like boobs, blood,
Oh, like
guts, like stereotypical horror.
right. Uh,
It's not
stereotropical.
right,
Tropes.
exactly. So, and obviously that's not what this is.
Right.
But I'm just saying when you say horror, this is not what comes to mind.
No.
Eventually, this will be what comes to mind, but right now it's not. So, as far as that goes, it's got a lower rating. As
Right.
far as what it actually is in the story it tells, and I think that the importance of it, it gets I would say a B or a B
I
minus.
I would say that this is a horror movie like Requiem for a Dream is a horror movie. Like
Right.
Requiem for a
There's
Dream, if heroine's the monster,
right.
and we have our victims, we see the monster attacking our victims. That it feels the same
Right.
in the
And
sense with
by
this.
definition, this is horror
This is horror. It's
because
psychological.
for for somebody to be queer or trans and live out their life pretending that they're not, that's horrific.
Yes.
So, yes, it counts as horror. It is again not your stereotypical horror, but just as important.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that this gets a higher grade.
Yeah.
Um, so let's
And another really like good thing about that too is like normally we would look at these type of movies and go, it's it's the younger generation, it's the
yeah,
kids, like it's our kids, kind of deal, but this takes place in like 96 to like the early 2000s. So this is literally a movie like very close to where it's
right,
like, yeah, I
right,
know what that feels like. The just the whole background and the essence of like that suburban, and like, I'm spending the night. You bring your sleeping bag to, and, and watching a specific show,
Mhm.
on television. And
There's a lot of oddly, sorry,
all
go ahead.
these like all the I liked the idea of this takes place in the 90s and the early 2000s without throwing nostalgia directly at you. Like they weren't sitting there playing fucking like, like
Pokemon and shit.
or the
Watching
Super
Dragon
Mario,
Ball Z.
like Mario 64 and listening to fucking the Backstreet Boy, or
Hmm.
you know,
Right.
the nostalgia was very mute. You
Hmm.
know, it was just a time and a place
Right.
in there, you know, and like, you know, there wasn't, like I said, there was no one there like playing with their Tamagotchi
Hmm.
and, you know, like with Gak
Yeah.
and shit.
Well, I think that they didn't want to focus that.
Right,
They didn't want to focus that and make that. They didn't want to rely on that to tell their story.
right.
I think that a lot of movies rely on that kind of thing, and they go, "Oh, look,
Yeah.
remember
Oh, we gotta,
Member
yeah.
berries?"
Fucking yeah, we
So
gotta. It takes place in the 80s. See, here's
right,
a Rubik's
right,
cube.
yeah,
This is
exactly,
the
yeah, yeah.
80s
Here's a
and shit.
Christian Slater poster.
Right.
So like, yeah, we we aren't heavily, you
Member
know,
buried out in this movie, but
yeah,
it
exactly.
definitely has that
It
feeling.
does. It does. It does. The TVs, the VHS being used, the sleeping bags,
Yeah.
it all feels like it, but it's not the point, and it makes sure that you know that's not the point.
Right.
Um, it has a much larger story, but even with, and I, I'm not going to try to say this in a way that takes away from the story that it is actually telling, but I think that everybody can feel this red pill, blue pill feeling at some point in their life.
Right.
There is the idea of continuing with what you think you should be doing versus what you want to be doing.
Right.
I think that's something that we all struggle with. So,
Yeah.
I still found it quite relatable. And then also it's telling a really great story.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so
With
yeah,
amazing actors.
yeah, you
Uh,
dig through layer one of this, like it's relatable to me, and then also, you know, it's telling this awesome story about this young man who, or woman, that is living essentially a lie to save face with her parents that, well, at least the dad not agreeing with
Fred
who
Durst.
he, Fred Durst. That was Fred Durst?
That was Fred Durst.
Nuh-uh.
That was
Really?
fucking Fred Durst, dude. Fucking yeah.
Was it? Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't know.
where he was
I
like,
thought he was a mixed guy.
nah, it was
He
Fred
looked
Durst.
kind of like the same complexion
Yeah.
of the first sheriff in or like not in House of a Thousand Corpses. Like not quite white.
Um, no,
Um,
I mean, no, but if you look, it's Fred Durst.
yeah.
Yeah, like when,
I
uh,
immediately hated that character, so I just didn't look.
because it's like the
I
asshole
could,
dad who's like, you know, it's like,
yeah,
oh, I really like this show. Isn't that a show for girls?
right,
Like
right,
that.
right.
That's one that is that this all has to do with this specific TV show,
Mhm.
like in the,
Is
in the 90s. I guess it's a cross between like
Are
Alex
you afraid of the
Mack. Are you
dark?
afraid of the
And yeah,
dark?
yeah,
And like there was this other show called Ghost Rider that it kind of
yeah, yeah.
reminded me of and shit. And
Erie, Indiana. I
yeah,
mean, plug and play from the late
right,
'90s to early 2000s.
right.
Um, yeah, I think that I was so, the dad was so despicable that like everything, I mean, the
He
guy,
was cold.
he was so cold. And
Yeah,
when he goes, is that show for a girl? And the kid just kind of like shrinks into himself and doesn't
right.
say anything else. I was immediately like, man, fuck you, dude.
Yeah,
And then when he comes home, he's like, sorry, there was an accident, and he's just staring.
yeah,
Like I felt like that was like he knows something is different about his child, or his child is not stereotypical, and he doesn't know how to deal with them, so he just stares
right,
at
right.
him.
Especially because I think that's after spoilers. If you haven't seen this,
Yeah, we're gonna
like,
spoil this movie. We're gonna talk
okay,
about,
yeah, if you haven't seen it, I
right.
recommend it. Go
The
and
cocaine
watch
does
it. I
bear.
would, yeah, fucking. go just if you got HBO and
Right.
you've been thinking about watching it and you clicked on our video to see if we
For
told you to
some fucking
watch it,
reason. Yeah.
fucking
Yeah, go
just go
watch it.
watch it. All
For
right,
sure.
so at that point the
The
mom is already
cocaine sniffs a bunch of bear and
yeah.
it gets really weird at the end. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
Um the mom's already passed, so I can
Mhm,
see him like blaming that kid for
mhm,
like everything. And that
mhm,
kid automatically just taking in all of that emotion of just
mhm,
like, this is my fault. This is my fault, you know?
mhm. Yeah.
And just, yeah, but it's cold. He's very cold. Even though there is that one part where like, I guess he's just watching VHS tapes of it and like he has that dream where he smashes his face into the
Okay, so no. I know you're
yeah.
thinking, oh, the dad comes and saves him. So he was the son was trying to get into the TV, where the daughter was
Oh,
trying to get into
okay.
the TV
Yeah.
to be himself or herself.
Yeah.
And the dad
What's the
pulled
character's
her
name?
back. Owen.
Owen.
Owen was
Okay.
trying to get
Owen.
into the TV to become himself. He made an attempt, and his dad pulled him back and was like, "No, you're going to live this way."
I gotcha.
So
I
yeah,
gotcha.
because I thought it the first time I watched this, I was like, "Oh, well, he does care somewhat because he tried to say," and then I was like, "No, that's not
See,
what's happening
so you're
here."
on a second watch. I'm still on the first watch,
Right,
so
right,
I
right.
I do need to go back and like rewatch some things.
Oh, for sure,
But
for
like
sure.
those moments in this movie when we do have those like really like dreamy
Hmm.
or like out of this world like
Hmm.
symbolism or out of this world like just cinematography, it's just it's like the king of like movies where like you can read into things or you can just stop and watch this amazing moment of like
Yeah.
yeah, movies, moving pictures, there it is art and shit and it's like
Yeah,
wow.
and this movie really stands out as art.
Right.
It does everything that I think that it tells this trans story very beautifully, very
Yeah.
artistically, and also doesn't slap you in the face with it. It does it in a way that you wouldn't expect it. It doesn't glamorize it, and it doesn't put this like facade on it. It shows
Right.
you that there's a lot more at stake for trans people
Yeah.
than
In
you
your
may
brain, if
think.
you know, kind of deal. And if you
Well, yeah, for
don't
sure.
know like what they're trying to say in this movie, it's like it's okay. You can still enjoy this movie for the
Right,
art that it is, you
right.
know. But the
And like I said in the beginning, yeah,
once that fuse is sparked, it's like, oh,
yeah. And the first time I watched it, I took it as one layer deep. Like I saw the story and I saw the progression, but I was still took it as like, I can relate to this because of the red pill, blue pill, left fork, right fork, however you want to
right,
go about
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like everybody's been in that situation, and you look and you go, well, what if I go this direction? What if
yeah.
I go this direction? This
Oh,
direction seems the normal, safe route. Let me take that,
mm-hmm.
and then you regret it,
Right,
because you weren't true to yourself.
yeah,
And I think that that's what this movie does really well.
yeah,
And it's doing it on two layers. It's doing it so my ass can figure it out and go, I can relate to that. But
yeah.
then it's also telling this story that makes it even more intense and more artistic and a better story.
So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
on that note, Jacob, would you go see this in the theater? Big, big, like huge IMAX movie theater.
I think that it would be really pretty to watch like visually. Um, I've seen it twice at home now, and I kind of like it because it is a bleak movie. I feel like if I watched it, same thing with like Requiem for a Dream, like you mentioned, or Bellflower or something. If I watch these bleak movies, I might walk out of the theater into traffic. So I probably am better off watching it at home.
All right.
But yeah, that's just
Yeah.
me. What about you?
Yeah, I'll stay at the home.
Yeah.
Um, um,
Been a while, huh?
No. I need to write this shit down. All right, so
It's four.
theater
It's four
Jacob
questions.
is. Would you own a physical copy of this?
Yeah, I think I would like to if I could grab it on VHS or something. That would be cool.
Good Blu-ray. Good Blu-ray of this
Yeah,
would be
yeah, that
nice.
would be nice because the
VHS would
quality.
be nice. Good
Yeah.
box art cover, you know. Um, Jacob, is this a cult classic? Could this be a cult classic?
No, it's not. Could it be? Maybe, yeah.
I'm gonna say
But
yes. It
you're
could
gonna say
be.
yes to now. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I
could
would say
be.
yeah, but also I don't know, man. It's so good though. Like it's done. It. I realize I gave it a B, and I keep saying it's so good. Um,
No,
but
still. Mhm.
I think it's done so well, and everybody did so well that like the cultness would only have to come from an underground following, which in that case it could very easily be a cult classic.
I always say that Scott Pilgrim is a cult classic because it came out in the theater. I completely didn't I didn't even flinch when it was
Yeah,
out in the theater. When
yeah,
it came out originally on like DVD and VHS, I didn't flinch.
mhm,
And then it took me like I think 6 years after it had already come out
yep,
to find it and go, holy shit, this is a great movie.
yeah,
And I feel like this movie, it could be in that same genre where it came out. We
mhm,
caught it early, but
mhm,
there could be someone down the line who sees this movie and is like, wow, you know,
yeah,
and that is where the cult will come from. You
yeah,
know, that idea of a generation of kids that missed it on their first go around, but like that third generation out where they're like discovering this movie, you know, down the line
mhm,
and it being like, wow,
right.
I wish I was there for this right when it hit, you know?
One thing I thought it was just an artistic choice. It makes it kind of even more of a bummer. But I thought it was just an artistic choice to kind of play this in the 90s, 80s, or 90s, early 2000s realm of like the VHS and the TVs and stuff.
Hmm.
I never really thought about the story being told from the 90s and how much more sadder it is because there was probably so many people that had to hide themselves and their lives in that time era before it became more acceptable, because I
Right,
know they're still met with like violence and
right.
hate and stuff, but like
Discrimination.
yeah, back then it was even more so.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's sad. This movie's sad.
It's a sad hood movie.
Yeah, it's a sad
Fucking,
hood movie. It's a sad movie.
it's a sad neighborhood movie.
Yeah.
Fucking, yeah, like, yeah, of course. Of course. What's even
Yeah, I didn't
sadder
put the
is that they would
timeline to
have
it,
to wait
so
an entire goddamn week for TV shows where we get one when we
dude, we
just binge
watched
it.
Breaking Bad that way. We watched Dexter that way in your basement.
We're old school. We're
Yeah,
old school. Jacob, last one. Would you recommend this?
absolutely.
I would recommend it as well.